I just received information from one of the ministers in the cabinet saying that Mansukh Mandavia is the one who's got spots. They're watching our coverage live, and thank you, sir, for that. Really appreciate this. They're saying Mansukh Mandavia, who comes from Gujarat, is seen as one of the blue-eyed boys of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He's been groomed personally by the Prime Minister for a very long time. He is the one who will have spots. That's the information that we've just received. We're also being told that Dharmendra Pradhan, who was for a long time seen as a potential front-runner to be Chief Minister of Orissa, he's got education. It's a ministry he's dealt with in the past, and he'll be back in that ministry. Ram Mohan Naidu gets civil aviation, and Annapurna Devi gets women and child development. And it baffles me as I take our viewers through this list that all the information is coming more from the ministers and from the central source, whether it's the cabinet secretary or the Prime Minister's office. We still haven't heard in terms of what they're getting. We're also being told that Ravneet... Yeah, go on.
Right. No, go ahead. Annapurna Devi comes from Jharkhand, so interesting choice. I have an interest in WCD, but go ahead, Rahul.
Yeah, I was just saying that Mansukh Bhai Mandavia, Chirag Paswan would have liked to get spots. He's young, he kind of thinks he's very careful. The only one minister I saw during the campaign was being careful about what he was eating. We've also just received information that Ravneet Bittu, who lost in Ludhiana, he's got Minister of State for Minority Affairs. So the grandson of Beyan Singh was assassinated, imported into the BJP. He's been given the Minister of State for Minority Affairs.
But that's an interesting choice. But Siddharth Zarabi has the Finance Minister's name.
So we now have from multiple sources, including Karishma Asudani, who covers Finance Ministry for us, that she's being told that the top four are the same, and that also includes Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman.
That also includes the Minister of External Affairs.
I'm only taking names of what we can go out.
The top four are the same.
The top four are the same, with the particular name of Nirmala Sitharaman as the Finance Minister, basis what our reporter colleagues are telling us.
Rahul, it seems the top four are the same. So if we are looking at that, then we are looking at Amit Shah retaining Home, we are looking at Rajnath Singh retaining Defence, we are looking at Nirmala Sitharaman retaining Finance, and we are looking at Mr. Jai Shankar retaining MEA.
I have just received information, and we are breaking it at this moment, that Kiran Rijiju, the minister from Arunachal Pradesh, has got Parliamentary Affairs and Minority Affairs. Now that is interesting because Parliamentary Affairs is a very significant, very important portfolio, and that's now gone to Kiran Rijiju. Kiran Rijiju, who used to be Law Minister, suffered a bit of a blow. This signals a rehabilitation of sorts, because at a time when you need to take the opposition parties along, you need to have a joint consensus in terms of how the parliamentary agenda will flow. We've just heard that Kiran Rijiju has been upgraded and
he replaces Prahlad Joshi. He replaces Prahlad Joshi as Parliament Minister. But breaking news, Siddharth.
My colleague Chetan Bhutani is now reporting that Hardeep Singh Puri is likely to retain the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. We have also another input of C.R. Patil as Jal Shakti. We also have more details.
C.R. Patil replaces
Jal Shakti was Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, whose name is now being mentioned, by the way, for culture and tourism.
So that's a demotion. Would you say?
Well, not really.
From Jal Shakti, because Jal Shakti is a pet project of the Prime Minister.
No, I think tourism from a point of view of what it means for India in the next 5 years is going to be a big one. There are some details of two MOSs, including the name of Suresh Gopi, who I hope stays in the Council of Ministers.
As what?
And Rao Indrajit Singh, both as Ministers of State for the very same culture and tourism beat.
Rao Indrajit Singh, who is basically a Yadav face, Ahirwal face for the Bharatiya Janata Party in Haryana, comes in as MOS Tourism. Suresh Gopi comes in as MOS Tourism. And you have Gajendra Shekhawat from Jodhpur, Rajasthan, who comes in as the Cabinet Ministry, where tourism
no photographic
is
evidence, Preeti, but Jagat Prakash Nadda, soon to be the outgoing president, unless a different decision is taken, may go back to his old haunt of health.
All right, okay. So Rahul, Mr. Nadda might get health. His tenure as party president is over by the end of month. But Siddharth says in all probability, his source is telling him.
Ashwini Vaishnav now being mentioned, again this is sources,
Right.
viewers, there's a difference. We are putting this information in two baskets, one with photographs, one without photographs. Ashwini Vaishnav for Railways
Retains Railways.
and Ministry of Information Broadcasting.
So we've
Ashwini
just
Vaishnav,
heard,
which is important to us as well. Ministry of Broadcasting is Ashwini MIB Minister. Ashwini Vaishnav. Rahul, go over to you.
So we've just heard that Prahlad Joshi is likely to be the Minister for Food, Consumer Affairs and Renewable Energy. And again, it's Janata Dal secular sources who are telling us the portfolio that Kumaraswamy is getting. This, in the way that Prime Minister Modi has run the government, is really the story of the day. One story is that they're signaling continuity, that by and large, those who had whatever ministry they did, they're continuing with that. And the other big change is that information is coming from wherever the minister is letting the information go out. It's no longer one-way traffic, and that really is one of the big stories. As somebody who's tracked this government very closely over the past 10 years, that to me really is the big information that's coming out. Prahlad Joshi now confirmed as the new Minister for Food, Consumer Affairs, New and Renewable Energy.
Well, and as journalists, I would reckon, Siddharth, nothing better than, what's happening right now. At least there's a flow of multiple information.
Well, I hope there are no changes just because there are leaks, but that's a
But there are
tongue-in-cheek
leaks.
remark.
Finally, there are leaks in this government.
But there's one significant point, again, pending photographic confirmation, viewers. Jyotiraditya Scindia's name being mentioned for telecom, and Preeti, you will recall, we will have to hark back to an era of UPA where he was Minister of State in telecom, and at that stage, I remember he had tried some initiatives.
All right, Rahul, go ahead.
We've just received information that Jyotiraditya Scindia will be the Minister for the Northeast, so the Department of the Northeast and Telecom. That's the ministry that Jyotiraditya Scindia will have. So it's a heavyweight ministry for him. Department of Northeast is something that the Prime Minister has been personally very committed to. So that's something that Jyotiraditya Scindia will get, and he also gets Telecom. That's the information that we're getting, with Ashwini Vaishnav likely to retain Railways and potentially coming in as the new INB Minister. Although we haven't, now remember, it's really down to the Minister, his office, to confirm what they're getting, and it's not come from one central source. And that really, frankly, for anybody who's tracked this government, is really the big story that we're seeing. We're also hearing that JP Nadda has been assigned the Health Ministry now. Remember, he's dealt with the Health Ministry in the past, so it's not something that he's new to. So far from being BJP President, he's now going to go back to being the Health Minister.
The Health Minister, who becomes the BJP President, because if you look at the list, everyone is now in the cabinet. But Siddharth, more to add?
I would really say that let's also take a look at, therefore, the priorities that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is trying to send out through these portfolio allocations. The bulk of the allocations of budgets will remain in line with people who have dealt with these subjects for several years now, and therefore the policy thrust is going to continue to be the same. There are certain changes, but I would say that they are more from the point of view of the fact that there are 6 odd cabinet posts more that have been allocated. There are powerful allies who also have to be taken along, and perhaps some further changes could happen later on. But right now, this is continuity, largely with some smattering of change here and there, Preeti.